Hello, everybody. My name is Jerry Wise. I'm a life and relationship coach, and this video is entitled 9 Things Narcissists Are Afraid of. I hope that you'll subscribe, like, comment, and join and support this channel. I do put up free videos, and any donations are a great help. And if you want to join, you may want to use your browser, not your phone app. Use a browser on your phone or a PC to join. Today, again, is about the fears of the narcissist. Narcissists can seem so together, so confident, so brash. However, lurking beneath that external confidence and brashness is a very fortified interior in which are housed a lot of fears and probably are unconscious to the narcissist. They suffer from a high degree of reactivity and anxiety, and particularly systems anxiety, which often they are not even aware of. So what are some of these fears? And why would they be helpful to us to know some of these fears? Well, to be able to regulate our relationship with them, to avoid triggers that can create more blowback from them, to see how broken they are so we can see how difficult a task we would have to remain in a relationship with them. Sometimes those relationships cannot be ended. Sometimes they can. And it can be difficult to end them and to go no contact. There are other times we can make that choice. So what are some of these fears? Number 1, being exposed. Narcissists do not want their flaws exposed, their weaknesses revealed. That is very, very difficult for them. Natural human weaknesses and faults are not natural nor human for narcissists. They don't feel either of those should be a part of their human existence. Being average to them is equivalent to being worthless. Being mediocre equals failure. Being seen as a human being, being seen as human, is to be disdained for the narcissist. They cannot be seen in any other way than the way that they see themselves, which is superior, able, more knowledgeable than anyone else, more successful, more good-looking, more whatever the characteristics that they have that they feel are so important for their sense of broken selfness that they have. A second fear is losing control. They cannot lose control of their image and other people's perception of it. All people in their sphere of influence must be controlled to sustain their self-beliefs. So there's a heavy need to control all of them, or all of the people around them, so that they can sustain these beliefs about themselves. So you will always need to be less than, I will always need to be greater than if I am a narcissist. And I need to control that narrative and control that story at all times. Otherwise, it creates a real dissonance within me, anxiety, and many times an attack. Thirdly, being humiliated. Criticism is a devastating loss for the narcissist. Status is something that they treasure. Small, meaningless slights, questioning, or failing to give them acknowledgement can be a cause for rage. They possess an allergy to vulnerability. Some of us have an allergy to intimacy. Narcissists have an allergy to vulnerability. And they will humiliate others to avoid being humiliated. they will take the first step. Or if they feel humiliated, they will humiliate the other person so that they come back up and you go back down. Because if you make a criticism, even ever so slight, they have this fear of being down here, so they jump up here and humiliate you to put you down so they are above. Fourthly, they fear being rejected. Any kind of rejection, personal, social, or professional, represents an intense and validating evidence of their unlovability and unrespectability. And they fear that considerably and will react. Hoovering is utilized to draw rejecting people back in to soothe the feeling of not being good enough. In other words, if you have backed up, or if you feel they have been inappropriate or wrong or didn't have the right answer or didn't do it right, then they will hoover people back in so they can get back in their "aren't I better than you" position. And they want you and need you to acknowledge that. And in this hoovering, discrediting others helps them to gain the upper hand. Again, putting you down always is a means to put them up. Detachment, neutrality, self-differentiation will always be seen as a rejection to the narcissist. Because any kind of distancing for the narcissist ignites their fears and reactivities in which they feel they're being pulled down to human level, and they will bounce back up and be critical of your attempts to be detached, neutral, or self-differentiated. Fifthly, narcissists fear process and want to stay focused on the content. So what do I mean by process versus content? Content is symptoms, process is the problem that's going on. Content is the argument or the theme or the event. Process is what's going on between us and in the relationship. Narcissists do not want to talk about what's going on. They only want to talk about the content of your failings or something you've done wrong, or that content, not how they are interacting in the relationship or even how you're interacting within the relationship. If they criticize you and you are willful, then they'll attack the willfulness. If they criticize you and you detach or move away, they'll criticize you for that, because they cannot handle that in a relationship. They fear talking about what is going on versus what they see the problem is. They don't want to talk about what's going on. They don't want to talk about the system. They don't want to talk about the functioning and how we're actually interacting with each other. They only want to stay focused on the problem and the issue and the content, because then they can keep their inner state stable. They want to argue the facts, not see what's going on or their behavior, certainly. A process statement may be, no matter what the issue is, yelling at me must stop. That's a process statement. Versus, I know I shouldn't have parked there. They'll want to stay on why you shouldn't have parked there, not what's going on between us, which is you're yelling at me, you're pushing me away, you're putting me down, you're demeaning me. They don't want to talk about the process. The issue is where you parked, and we got to stay on the content. I know the reason you called the pastor, or I know the reason you called the pastor. You were wanting him to see me in a negative light, Mary. versus, no, I'm a good Christian and I do believe in loving others. Because loving others and being a good Christian is not the issue. The issue is I don't need to defend myself as a good Christian or a good Muslim or a good whatever. I want to stay on the process of, why did you do the process of calling the pastor? Because you wanted me to comply or be seen in a negative light with the pastor. I know you are just baiting me to see if I will bite, we might say to a narcissist. Versus, well, stop bringing up the issue. We've already discussed it. And you know how I feel about the issue. And again, we're back to the issue and content, which they want to continue to belabor. They don't want to look at the process of being baited and hoping I will take the bait. Because they don't believe they're baiting anybody. They just believe they're talking about this issue and not their functioning. Narcissists want to argue, not analyze. They are linear thinkers, not systems thinkers. You caused this to happen versus how they have contributed to the cause and this whole process of things that we are arguing about. Number 6, they are afraid of low anxiety in others. Calmness. Narcissists thrive and gain narcissistic supply from the anxiety of other people. Also, the praise and all of those things that they want from other people. But certainly they want others to be off guard and anxious. They can smell low anxiety 100 miles away, and this is threatening to them. They control by keeping everyone's anxiety high around them. And if you notice that, you can notice that if you look at how narcissists will interact with people, even other people that are around you, you can see how that is important for them. Because low anxiety means you are more in control of yourself. A narcissist does not want you more in control of yourself. And they want you on your hind feet. They want you off balance. And so having greater anxiety is something they would prefer. 7, willingness and being intentional is something they are afraid of. They thrive on reactivity and automatic triggers in relationships. And if someone is willful or intentional or declares self, this drives them crazy. And they will fight it most strongly. If there is a conflict of wills, narcissists feel they must win. And their intentions or willfulness must prevail. Others' willfulness is threatening to them, and this includes disagreements and differences. And again, they are very afraid of someone being willful or intentional or having low anxiety, because that does not fit how they do relationships. Number 8. They are afraid of playfulness or a lack of over-seriousness. Or someone being over-serious. Or a lack of over-seriousness. If they sense that someone is not over-serious like they are over-serious, that raises their anxiety. And again, they will be reactive to that. Narcissistic over-seriousness allows them to remain irresponsible. Because when you're over serious, you're not taking responsibility for your part in the system. You're just complying. They never need to take their behavior, attitudes, words, or feelings into account. A lack of over-seriousness always means we are being disrespectful to the narcissist. because you need to be over serious about me and what I want, what I believe, what I need, etc. Yet, we all have the right to be playful or moderate seriousness to playful in the face of others' over seriousness. Now, I don't mean healthy, I'm not talking about healthy, mature seriousness. Certainly there's a time when it's appropriate for us to be serious. I'm talking about the problem of over seriousness and being over serious, which is an emotional state that's designed to enmesh us with someone. If I'm over serious, then I want you to be connected to me in that same over seriousness. Now, I don't go into funeral homes telling jokes and laughing. I'm not talking about being playful in an inappropriate, immature way. But if someone is saying the deceased was a saint, and actually they were very mean and selfish, I would say, well, that wasn't my experience with them. And I might playfully say, respectfully, well, I'm not sure I would put them up for sainthood just yet. This isn't disrespectful, but being honest in a soft, diplomatic way. Because that wasn't my experience of them. And they're over serious about that person in meshing with them and seeing them as a saint when they really weren't. So they don't have a flexibility of they had good qualities, they had not such good qualities, as we all do. So we want to know that narcissists fear a lack of over seriousness in others. And number 9, narcissist fears being left alone. The narcissist fears being left alone and feeling non-significant. This is very, very scary for them. Narcissists need emotional supply for their ego and their own broken self-worth. They don't find it in themselves, so they must have it from other people, and being left alone leaves them alone with their own brokenness. Being left alone can draw emotional blood and cause narcissistic injury to the narcissist, i.e., or e.g., for example, when people try to leave narcissists. It's a major problem to leave a narcissist because they don't want to be left alone. They will hoover. They will do all kinds of things to keep you in their realm of influence because they don't want to be left with themselves. I would recommend you read the book, The Narcissists in Your Life by Julie Hall. A great book, and I would strongly have you take a look at that. I hope you'll subscribe, join, like, and comment on my videos. I want to thank you all for joining today. Have a great day, and be wise.